Good evening and welcome to the Greg Tompsett Football Show. Tonight we are going to whip all around the NFL, looking at all the matchups in Week 10 of this NFL season. And as always, we'll be utilizing our friend Uber Hansen's Week 10 rooting interests. And we were just talking offline with producer Chris, kind of going over this game on Thursday night. Obviously, we just had Cincinnati go down and score a touchdown, and Baltimore not able to answer back with a last-second field goal here, so it was 14-7 at halftime. And I was having an interesting text conversation earlier about who I'm actually rooting for. And I think a lot of the Bills fans are here with Uber, rooting for the Bengals because it gives the Ravens another loss, knocks them down. They have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Bills, would give them a fourth loss, and really put the Bills in better position for, a top two, top three seed, maybe even obviously trying to catch the Chiefs for a 1 seed. And I don't disagree. I don't think it's crazy. A piece of me wouldn't mind the Bengals getting that sixth loss and putting kind of a little extra nail in their coffin. Chris and I looked at the schedules the remainder of the way. The Ravens' remaining schedule is definitely harder than the Bengals' remaining schedule. The Bengals have a lot of wins on the rest of their schedule. So I wouldn't hate that. I think that they're going to be able to catch the Broncos. And I'll even say if they win tonight, I feel firmly they will catch the Broncos. So a piece of me wouldn't mind that if we catch the Chiefs and then the Chiefs end up the 2 seed and open up with the Bengals as the 7 seed. But I won't lie. I don't know that I want to open up with the Bengals as a 7 seed if the Bills get the 2 seed. This Bengals team obviously is inconsistent, but their ceiling is still pretty darn strong and they can score a lot of points. So I think Uber's on the right path here. I get the idea of rooting for the Bengals to win, giving the Ravens that loss, but I'm a little torn as I'm watching it. So we'll see where this one goes tonight. As we kind of go through, obviously, I don't know if this is like still punishment for World War II that we're sending Giants Panthers to Germany. The only people who care about this are the Giants and Panthers fans who are both rooting for a loss because of how impactful this is for the number 1 pick next year. This is just a horrible football game. I can't in good conscience recommend for you to watch it. So feel free to sleep in on Sunday. Luckily, my daughter has a basketball tournament, so I'm going to be able to miss this game and not have to suffer through any of it because you can't make me watch that. Patriots Bears, again, Bears victory is easy to root for strategically with the tiebreakers. I don't mind the idea of the Patriots sneaking a win here or there just to kind of tank their draft pick a little bit. They're obviously going to be looking for an offensive tackle to protect Drake May as he's shown some promise and some flash here. So I won't be heartbroken if they upset the Bears. The Bears obviously have taken a couple losses here. They're getting into desperation mode. That NFC playoff picture is going to start getting tight at the bottom. So we'll see where that one goes. Bills Colts, obviously we know we're rooting for Bills the whole way. Aaron and I had Destin Adams on, who is a great writer for A to Z Sports, does great draft work. He was on with us Wednesday night, so make sure to check that out. All the things about this matchup. A couple guys, Jonathan Taylor in the run game. Tanner Bortolini going to have his starting debut with their center and captain Ryan Kelly out, but I think Bortolini is still pretty talented, and DeForest Buckner playing for them on defense is certainly worth being concerned about. Super easy one here, Broncos Chiefs. The Chiefs do not have an incredibly difficult schedule. Obviously, they have the Bills game coming up here, but we need them to get one more loss somewhere along the lines here. This Broncos team has played them really tough. They've played other teams really tough. Chris and I were just looking at it pre-show, and you'd be shocked to find out the Denver Broncos lead the NFL in pressures. They have more pressures than any other team. This defense is playing really, really well. A lot of it, I think, is the coverage on the back end with Patrick Surtain and the corners back there being able to let the other guys get home, because they have a handful of guys that are really, really playing well. Zach Allen and Jonathan Cooper are leading them in pressures, but then there's just a ton of other guys doing it. And I think Riley Moss and Jaquan McMillan and Patrick Surtain are one of the best cornerback trios in the league, and they're playing really, really well. PJ Locke and Brandon Jones playing well at safety. That's a good team. Levi Wallace even playing some good snaps and being able to help them out here. They have a really talented back end. I think it's letting that front end get home. So easy to root for them. We'll be hoping that the Broncos can pull an upset and give the Chiefs eventually. Someone's got to beat them for a loss. We need somebody else to beat them besides the Bills to be able to get us that tiebreaker to get the number 1 seed in that bye. Falcons Saints, two NFC teams. The Saints are reeling right now, looking like one of the worst teams in the NFL. They just lost to the Panthers, and rightfully, if you lose to the Panthers, your coach should get fired. It's just the way it should work. So Dennis Allen, you lost to the Panthers, you get fired. It's just the way it works. Like that's just how the rules go. The Falcons have put together some good plays and really started to really take a stranglehold on that NFC South. I think this should be an easy game for them. And as Uber explains, with the tiebreakers and strength of victory impact, it technically helps us for the Falcons to win. Same thing here. Technically, a 49ers win helps us because of the upcoming game against them. 49ers playing the Bucs. The Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield are playing really, really game football right now, hanging in a ton of these without Chris Godwin, without Mike Evans. The fact that they're hanging in these games is really respectable. They gave the Chiefs everything they could handle in that game. But again, I think the 49ers will be able to take care of business here, and technically that helps the Bills, so we'll root for that. Steelers Commanders, super easy one. The Steelers are right there and have a lot of potential conference tiebreakers with the Bills, so they're 6-2. They're right in the running for one of those top seeds right now, continuing to find a way to win. Commanders are playing really good football. Their defense surprisingly playing pretty well, besides obviously the offense being exciting behind Jaden Daniels. So this is an easy one from a rooting standpoint, and honestly, maybe a sneaky, interesting game. They just traded for Mike Williams, so now the Steelers are going to have, George Pickens on one side and Mike Williams on the other, which with Russell Wilson and his deep ball is still pretty. He can still throw up that deep ball for those guys to jump and get. I think that's going to be an entertaining game to watch. That'll definitely be up on my side screen as I'm watching the Bills game. Vikings Jags, this is going to be just a slaughter. The Jaguars are, they're just crumbling as the season goes. They traded away their tackle to the Vikings, so a return home game for Cam Robinson. The Vikings obviously playing really tough. That defense is ridiculous. We just watched them a couple times. I rewatched the Colts. Colts Vikings games preparing for this game for the Bills. That Brian Flores defense is nasty. So that's an easy one to be able to hope that we get the victory that we need, knock the Jags down and help our tiebreaker scenarios. Titans Chargers. The Titans are a sneaky one where I still think they're kind of better than their record is. The talent on their team is better than what their record is, but they keep losing ugly, ugly games. Honestly, it's amazing Rudolph and Will Levis. They just don't have any quarterback play, but man, like I really think they're better than what they've been. But this Chargers team is tough. So we want the Titans to win, knock another team back that we wouldn't have to worry about in the playoffs. But I think the Chargers are going to pull this out. The Titans keep finding ways to lose, and I just can't put any faith in Mason Rudolph. So as Uber explains here, it makes sense to root for the Titans. But I think the Chargers are going to take this home. So we'll see if it knocks one back. It's just more cushion for the Bills in case they stumble or stub their toe here. But I expect them to take care of business. Eagles, Cowboys, anytime we get to root against the Cowboys is fun. Eagles seem to be getting their stuff together here. Their defense starting to play really well. The Cowboys starting Cooper Rush at quarterback, and I think his number one receiver is going to be Jalen Tolbert. So maybe Micah Parsons comes back, but this was already maybe the top heaviest team in the NFL this year, and now they're going to have no Dak Prescott, no CeeDee Lamb, and maybe no Micah Parsons. The Eagles might just embarrass them in Dallas. That could be a really, really ugly game. And that sounds delightful. An ugly game of the Cowboys getting destroyed sounds great. Jets Cardinals, super, super easy rooting interest. The Jets are trying to show glimmers of hope here. Obviously, they beat the Texans. They're now starting to tell themselves stories of how they could get back into this AFC playoff race, chasing teams like the Bengals, chasing the Colts, chasing currently the Broncos, holding that final playoff spot. And I would love to just stomp on that and give them no hope at all. So easy to root for the Cardinals, who have been tough in every game this season, been able to keep themselves competitive. Their defense even being a little less terrible than people expected. But that offense bringing things together with James Conner, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., all the different pieces around Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray playing some of the best football he's played in quite a while. So easy rooting there, rooting for the Cardinals to take down the Jets. I think that'll be hopefully one we could take home. Then Sunday night, really, really good game. Lions at the Texans. The Lions right now are, for my money, the best team in the NFL. They are just playing dominant football on both sides of the ball. Brian Branch playing like crazy. They now traded for Zadarius Smith, who is not an Aiden Hutchinson level player, but is going to help them replace some of that production lost with Aiden Hutchinson. And this offense is just the most fun offense to watch in the NFL for my money. They can run the ball, they can pass the ball all over, dominant offensive line, fun trick plays, just really, really good, entertaining, fun football. And we get to root for him. So I am rooting for a Bills Lions Super Bowl, two cities, fan bases, teams that deserve that kind of excitement. And obviously, once it gets to that, I'll be rooting for the Bills, but I'm fully rooting for the Lions to get themselves to a Super Bowl here. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. And it'll be easy for us to root for the Lions to beat the Texans, knock them down another notch, and help improve our odds of the highest seed possible. Then on Monday night, we have Dolphins at the Rams. You guys have heard it here lots of times. The Rams are kind of like my second favorite team. I love watching them play. They're getting a couple of their offensive linemen back, both Jonah Jackson and Steve Avila getting brought back from IR. They have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back healthy. Kyron Williams playing well. Get some protection and time for Matthew Stafford and the mind of Sean McVay with a little bit better offensive line in front of them. I think the Rams can get themselves back into the running here. And what better way to do it than to embarrass and put a final stake in the heart of the Miami Dolphins. That'll be fun for everybody to watch and be able to enjoy laughing at the Miami Dolphins. So if again we see all those things come to pass, the Bills could have a full game and a half lead over anybody else behind them and be within one game of the Chiefs, with that game coming up the very next week after this Colts game. So easy things to root for. Make sure you check those things out. Make sure you read all of Uber's work here, along with the other guys like Chris and Greg Boris and everybody else writing over at Sports Illustrated with Kyle Salagi. But on behalf of the team here at Cover One, make sure you check out all the fun work we have going on. We appreciate you guys so much. But on behalf of fantastic producer Chris Seth, I am Greg Tompsett. You're listening to the Greg Tompsett Football Show, and we are